All right, Shalom. We the real Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked society, to tell the true so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the true biblical Israelites of the Bible. And I'm going to start off by giving all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, or HaKodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles, the elders, great millstone, who rule well in peace, love, and tight to the whole elect of Israel. And this the brother Zakaria from the Jim Master Moines branch. Come to give another lesson on loving one another. So Lord, what this lesson is edifying. I'm gonna jump right into it. But I'm gonna read the precept that it has here. This is Psalm chapter 133 and verse 1. It say, "Behold, how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity." So it say how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity, man. It's a good feeling. It's pleasant. It's brotherly love. The care that we have for one another, the kindness. I'm gonna go into it when I later on down the line. But just having that brotherly love, man. That us dwelling in unity, because we all we got, man. We all we got in this world. All odds is against us. All we got is Yahweh Shema Shai and the brotherhood. So we gotta cherish, this moment that we have. But I want to grab this other precept here. This is St. John, chapter 13, and verse 34. It says, "A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another." So we gotta have love for one another, not hating each other. Like Jake in the world, man. They backdoor their own brothers. But in this truth, man, you can sit your water down, your money, you can have your children playing around. It's still gonna be that. Your children can play around the brothers. You comfortable. When you're around the brotherhood, man. That's the comfortability we have against this world, man. Because all is against us. And our only comfort is when we around the brothers. When we dwelling with each other, we keeping each other on point. We say open rebuke is better than secret love. We on each other heads. We on our own heads. Making sure we on point. Making sure we doing the needful things in the spirit. Having each other back. Charity. All these things is part of the brotherhood. You gotta love the brotherhood. Neglect not the assembly, man, like the scripture says. But I'll read verse 35 again and say, "By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another." So if we love one another, it's going to show. It's going to be seen in the world. Like, these people be amazed when they see us out there on the highways and byways, when they see how we carry ourselves. Certain people in the world, they notice us. And they see how we treat each other, how we there for one another, just loving one another, being there for one another. Because we all we got. We all we got. But I got another precept here. This is First Peter. First Peter chapter 4 and verse 8. It says, "And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins." Charity cover a multitude of sins. And when you go into the word charity in the blue letter, it's brotherly love, right? Which leads to this precept here. This is Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 1. It says, "Let brotherly love continue." That's plain itself, man. Let brotherly love continue. Let brotherly love continue. Let charity continue, because it covers a multitude of sins. And when you go into the word charity, one of the words that I came across was benevolence. Benevolence, which means to do goodwill, kindness, unselfishness, almsgiving. And the adjective to benevolence, when you look in the sources like on Google or the etymon, it say benign, benign, which means being merciful, gracious, kind-hearted, compassionate. So we being merciful to one another, gracious to one another, kind-hearted to one another. And the adjective to benign, the noun to benign is benignity. Benignity, which is also kindness, friendliness, goodness. All these things we do for one another, man. We show this towards one another. We have to do these things. And it's being seen, being gracious to one another. And these different words that I looked into, and it was heavy on me to go into it, into the word charity and benevolence. You say alms given to do good, goodwill, kindness, unselfishness. And from that, it made me think of this precept here. This is Salakia. Yeah, let me get it. This is Philippians. This is Philippians chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. So we're not just being selfish. They're being unselfish, being selfless, caring for one another, looking on the things of others, not just ourselves, not just thinking about ourselves, but we thinking about one another, being there for one another, looking out for one another. A brother might need you for a ride for work or money. We got the brotherhood. Not just thinking about yourself like, oh, I ain't got to do this, or, oh, he got a job, I ain't got to give him nothing. He got a car. He got his own thing. Like, no, that's not how we look at things. That's not how we supposed to maneuver within this walk of ours. I'll read it again. It says, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. So we looking at the things of others, the brotherhood. Not just, it ain't just about me. It's about Yahweh Shema Shai and the brotherhood. Because this all we got. This is all we got. Like it says in 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. It says, Salakia. It says, this 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse, let me see. Yep, verse 25, it say that there should be no schism, which is division, in the body, but that the members shall have the same care one for another. So we should have the same care, the same kindness, the same love for one another. Not thinking on ourselves, but also for others. Having that same mindset. This is how the Lord is teaching us how to be. Because the system is taught us to be divided, to be divided against each other, to fight against one another. But no, we're here to help each other, to build each other up, to strengthen each other, and to love one another. But I have another precept. This is Galatians. This is Galatians chapter 5 in verse 14. It says, for all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So we got to treat brothers how we want to be treated. Love our neighbor as thyself. This is St. Matthew. This is St. Matthew chapter 22 and verse, what can I start at? In verse 34, it say, but when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, and saying, Master, which is the great commandment and the law? Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And it says, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So it said, love the Lord with all thy heart, with all our mind, with all our soul. And there's other precepts that say with all thy strength, you know. But it says in the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So if you love the Lord, it's going to show within the brotherhood, because you're going to apply these things that's written. You're going to apply what's written in the scriptures. That charity is going to show. That benevolence is going to show. That benignity is going to show. These things are going to is going to show. This is First John chapter 4 and verse 20. It says, if a man say, I love the Most High, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love the Most High whom he not seen? So if you say you love the Lord and you hate your brother, you is a liar. Because if you love the Lord, the second is unto it, like we just read. You're going to love thy neighbor as thyself. It says, for he that loveth not his brother whom he had seen. So you see your brother every day and you don't love him, but you see him. How can you love the Most High who you don't even see? Because if we have to believe that the men that we are around are men of the Lord, man. That Yahweh Shema Shai is with these men. It says, verse 21, and this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth the Most High love his brother also. So if you love Yahweh Shema Shai, you're going to love your brother too. If you say you love the Lord, say the fear of the Lord is to keep his command. The love of the Lord. I forgot his word. Let me see. Let me look it up. Salakia. Salakia. Let me see. Yep, this is St. John chapter 14 and verse 15. It say, if ye love me, keep my commandments. You know, and if you love the Lord, you're going to keep his commandments. It's going to show within the brotherhood. And say, in this commandment have we from him, that who loveth the Most High, love his brother also. That's the commandment. Love thy neighbor as thyself. So if you love the Lord, you're going to love the brotherhood. So we got to love one another. But I got another precept. This is Romans. This is Romans chapter 13 and verse verse 8. It say, owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, but it put, thou shalt not murder. And say, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this, saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So that's fulfilling the whole thing of that. Love thy neighbor as thyself, because you're not going to do those things to your brother. You're not going to steal from your brother. You're not going to you're not going to, have sex with your brother's wife. You're not going to bear false witness. You're not going to lie on him. You're not going to murder your brother. You're not going to covet your brother. Because you treat him as such, as you want to be treated. But I want to end it with this last scripture. This is 1 John chapter 3 and verse In verse 16, it say, hereby perceive we the love of the Most High, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. So we got to arm ourselves likewise with the same mind, and to lay our lives down with the brethren. And we do that daily by presenting our body as a living sacrifice, denying ourselves for one another, putting off our time to be there for another, putting off our time to be more in the ministry, be about our Father's business, like the scripture says, how the Lord was, having that same mind. Verse 17, it says, but whoso had this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shuteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of the Most High in him? So if you see your brother got need, and you got it, and you don't give, like that's off. You know, we are our brother's keeper. We gotta beat up one another. Let brotherly love continue, showing that benevolence. Though in other when alms giving, kindness, on the cares of others. Once again, caring for one another, being there for one another, loving one another. It says, verse 17 again, it say, but whoso had this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shuteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of the Most High in him? It says, my little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. You got to be genuine. We got to be truthful amongst one another, not lying to one another. Like if you got it, give, give it. You don't like Jacob have it and then don't give. Like that's off. And you know your brother's in need. Verse 19 is saying, hereby we know that we are of the truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. For if our heart condemn us, the Most High is greater than our heart, and knoweth all things. Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, then have we confidence toward the Most High. And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. And that charity is pleasing in the sight of the Lord, and covers a multitude of sins. It said that the things that's pleasing unto the Lord is made known unto us. The Lord gave us the blueprint, the keys to how to receive salvation, to how to make it, to how to get near unto him. Verse 23, it says, and this is his commandment, that we should believe on the name of his son, Yahawashi Mashiach, and love one another as he gave us commandment. You got to love one another, loving one another. And he that keepeth his commandments, as he gave us commandment, verse 24, and he that keepeth his commandments dwelleth in him, and he in him, and hereby we know that he abideth in us by the Spirit which he had given us. So these are things that we have to do, and it will show that the Lord is dealing. And we have to believe that, man, loving one another, being there for one another, caring for one another, because we all we got, man. Our salvation is near that we believe, man. All we got is Yahweh Shema Shine the brotherhood. So just continue to love one another. Let brotherly love continue. So Lord, with us, last was edifying. I want to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, or Hakadash. I want to get double honor to our apostles and elders, great millstone who rule well, and peace, love, and salutations to the whole elect of Israel. Shalom and Abba Babal.